I am 90 years old, and I have something to say that most people my age are too polite to say out loud. Some of our children do not respect us, not in the big dramatic way, not with shouting or cruel words, though sometimes that too, but in the slow, quiet, everyday ways that pile up over the years, until you simply cannot pretend they're not there anymore. My name is Loretta. I have been walking this earth for 9 decades. I raised 4 children. I buried a husband. I watched my hair go from brown to silver to white while the world kept spinning faster than I could follow. I am not bitter. I want to say that clearly before we go any further. But I am honest, and at 90 years old, I have earned every right to be. So if you've been sitting with a feeling you couldn't quite put into words, a heaviness around your family, a quiet hurt you keep swallowing down, I want you to stay with me today, because I am going to name it for you. Here are 7 signs that your children may not be giving you the respect you deserve. Tis again fun one. They don't answer your calls, not every time, not even with an excuse. They just don't answer, and when you finally do reach them, the conversation is short, rushed, like you've interrupted something far more important than talking to their mother. I know a woman, Eleanor, 80, 7 years old and sharp as any person I've ever met, who used to call her son every Sunday morning. She told me one day, in a voice real quiet, Loretta, I started counting. 3 Sundays in a row. He never picked up once. She never said a word to him about it. She just stopped calling on Sundays. That is not business. That is indifference. And deep down, you know the difference between the two when you feel it. They dismiss your advice and outs. I am not saying our children have to do everything we tell them. They are grown adults. I understand that fully. But there is a difference between disagreeing with your mother respectfully and waving her off like she has nothing worth saying anymore. When 90 years of living gets treated like it is out of date, when the lessons you learned the hard way get dismissed without a second thought, that stings in a place that doesn't heal easy, and it should, because it is a sign. They only call when they need something. You know exactly what I mean here. The phone goes quiet for weeks, then it rings, and before you even settle into the conversation, you can feel it coming. They need money, or they need you to watch the grandchildren this weekend, or they need you to sign something, agree to something, go along with something, and once that need is filled, the call ends. Just like that. Being used is not the same as being loved. Not at 20, not at 90, not at any age in between. Before we go any further, if you are nodding along to any of this, I want you to drop a comment right down below. Just say, I see it, Loretta. Because I know some of you have been holding this in a long time, and you deserve to hear from someone who understands. If plain, honest talk like this is what you need more of, subscribe. I still have plenty left to say. The visits stopped coming. They always had a reason at first. Traffic was bad. Work ran long. The kids had somewhere to be, and every single excuse sounded reasonable on its own. But months kept turning into months. And before long, one holiday became the only time you saw their faces. And even then, they sat in your home with their eyes on a little phone screen half the time. You gave up years for these people. You stayed up nights for them in this house, and now they can barely look up from a phone long enough to sit with you. Yes, that is a sign. 25. They've made you feel like a burden. I'll say this one carefully, because it is delicate. There is a difference between an honest family conversation about money and care, and making your mother feel guilty simply for being old. If you have ever left a conversation with your children feeling like an inconvenience, like your very existence is something they quietly resent, that is not love. That is not respect. You did not live 90 years on this earth to be made to feel like a burden by the very ones you gave everything to raise. O na no you know de dada marginu ma de goga do de hasijien.6. Their tone has changed. It is not always loud, not always cruel. Sometimes it is just short, clipped, impatient, like they are managing you instead of talking to you. Like you are a problem that needs handling, not a person who deserves tenderness. Pay attention to tone. It tells you everything that the actual words are trying to hide. Hasijien.7 Silimax. They never say thank you. This is the quiet ones. The sign that creeps in so slowly, you almost miss it altogether. No thank you for the years you worked yourself tired. No thank you for the nights you laid awake worrying. No thank you for the things you quietly gave up so they could have just a little more. Gratitude does not have to be a speech. It does not have to be flowers or a card. It just has to be there, in some small way, sometimes, when it has been gone so long that you cannot remember the last time you heard it. That is a sign you cannot afford to ignore. Now, here is what I want to leave with you today. I am not telling you to cut your children off. I am not asking you to go to war with your own family. I am telling you something simpler than that. Respect starts with self-respect. The way your children treat you is shaped, more than most of us want to admit, by the way you allow yourself to be treated, by whether you speak up when the tone gets sharp, by whether you let weeks of silence pass without saying a single word, by whether you have shown them, through your own actions, that your time and your feelings carry real weight. You cannot ask for something you have never required of yourself. So stand up a little straighter. Say what you mean. Set the standard clearly, and hold to it. You have lived 90 years on this earth. You have earned far more than you've been given, and it is not too late to start expecting it. If this sat with you today, good. Let it sit for a while. Leave a comment below and tell me which one of those 7 signs hit closest to home. I read every word that comes through. And if someone you love needed to hear this today, go ahead and share it with them. Sometimes the most caring thing you can do for somebody is simply hand them the truth. Take care of yourself, honey. You matter more than you know.